ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. Ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. Talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. Ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. Talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it.
this a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it.
Mic check. Can you hear me? Welcome everybody to another episode of Head to Head with Brian Parker. I am he. And we are back for another week of talk. Did you miss me? I did. I hope everybody's doing good out there. We are streaming live and direct on Instagram, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, as well as YouTube. Please join us on our journey for 10,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. If you haven't already, please go to YouTube. Pretty, please go to YouTube and find Empower TV. Like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. But no matter where you are joining us from, just please share and let other people know what it is that you are watching and consuming. We greatly appreciate that as well. And whether you are joining us live or you're catching us on the replay, we thank you for that as well. If you are a business owner, if you're somebody that promotes events, if you have a product or good that you would like to be able to promote and you would like us to be able and you would like us to advertise it on our programs, please reach out to us at theparkermedia@gmail.com. That's the word the Parker, Parker, media@gmail.com, or you can send us a direct message during the show. Okay, I think I got to that. And let's do a little Sawyer Kid Lawyer. This is a promo that we like doing. It's a kid's book. It's the first in a trilogy by Shanine and Sheldon Muldrow about Sawyer Kid Lawyer. So we're gonna play that and then get back to you on the other side. Introducing Sawyer Kid Lawyer, Teacher versus Nap Time, a great book that will help your little one with reading, writing, and spelling. Coming from the authors Shanine and Sheldon Muldrow. Please check this book out and support. Thank you so much. All right, we are back. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Okay. I always seem to have an issue with my mic on this show, but on the other show I don't. So that's like that.
It's the van.
Maybe. Anywho's, we may have folks straggle in a little later. I'm not really sure. I hadn't heard back from franchise or CJ, so they may show up, or it may just be the two of them. Okay.
You were coming in and out. I couldn't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I said we may have some stragglers. I haven't heard from franchise or CJ, so they may pop up a little bit, or they may not. It may just be the two of them.
And I like it.
You did hear me. Okay, everybody. We are back, and it's been, January was a crazy year. It really was. But since January, and now that it's February, we've had some things. Our weekly NFL show, Head to Head Sports, wrapped up season 5 yesterday. And we have been renewed for season 6, which is crazy to believe that Randall and I have done 5 whole seasons of head-to-head sports. Um, those seasons are 6 months long, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. live, where we go and cover the latest happenings in the National Football League. And the reason it wrapped up is because this past Sunday uh, was the Super Bowl between the Kansas City Chiefs and my Philadelphia Eagles. And yes,
I do have a question. So I know usually when you on your sports show and even on this show as well, you always make a prediction. Did your prediction come true this year?
hell no. Only half of the prediction came true. I did predict the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I wanted the Eagles to make it, but I had them losing to the Detroit Lions in the NFC Championship game. And in fairness, though, that was before the Lions went through a bunch of severe injuries throughout the season. I mean, injuries are part of any NFL game and season and things like that. But the amount that they actually went through would have been enough to derail the team early on. And they were able to keep flying the plane with bubble gum and duct tape for a very, very long time before it finally caught up with them. But it didn't catch up with them until the playoffs. I mean, they won they won the NFC conference. Um, those types of injuries that they took on would have derailed any team, and somehow they overcame it anyway. So no shade on them, but I truly believe if they had been at full capacity, it most likely would have been what I predicted. So I couldn't have predicted. I mean, 13 injuries would derail any team. They had 13, and when I say injuries, guys out. Like you have season-ending injuries, not you missed 2 games, 3 games, things like that. Season-ending injuries. They didn't just have 13; they had 13 just on the defensive side of the ball. Not a few on the defense, few on the offense. 13 were on the defense. Um, you only put 11 of them out there at a time. They had enough to be a full rotation of players. It's 11 on 11. They had 13 on injured reserve. Missed the whole season. Missed, when they got hurt, then they missed the remainder of the season. And most of these guys were players that provided a lot of impact on the team. So that was a lot for them to overcome. So again, they did. That's why I missed my prediction like I did, but it was fairly close. It was hard to predict the Chiefs because that would have meant them going back for the third consecutive year. And that's exactly what they did. Even with the rise of teams like Baltimore and Buffalo chomping at the bit to get there, somehow I felt like the Chiefs were going to find a way to worm and squiggle their way into it. They did. So now, once they got there, though, they wasn't ready for the Eagles. The Eagles put the beat down on them, and it was beautiful to see. So I hope it dispelled any rumors and conspiracy theories for people out there that the Chiefs always get the calls and stuff like that. The refs are always in the bag for the Chiefs. There's always those memes of the Chiefs warming up at practice, and you look around and it's the referees and stuff like that. So hopefully that put a lot of that to rest. I was happy my Eagles won, but the way they won killed my parlays all over the place. So I won absolutely nothing. But that's okay. I'll take the Super Bowl over the parlays. I'll get my money back. The biggest thing that happened, or one of the biggest things that were anticipated, was how the halftime show was going to go. And, I've seen so many mixed comments. And this is the thing about the halftime show, Lord. Halftime shows have to be entertaining. Because I've always heard from some of our non-melanin people, well, why don't they have bands up there or, this and that and the other? Well, number one, bands sit in one place. They don't move around the stage or anything like that. That may work at a concert, but a Super Bowl halftime show is more than a concert. It's an entertainment. So you really need entertainers. That's why Prince, Michael Jackson, Usher, Rihanna, a lot of those people do well. Beyonce, they're entertainers. Even if they're gifted vocalists, singers of the like, they're there because they can put on a show. They can engage with the crowd. They dance. They perform at the same time. They just don't stand in one damn place with a mic in their hand and belt out a bunch of songs. Okay, doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with that. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with bands. It just means that when you're at the Super Bowl in that type of venue, we've grown accustomed to engagement, the pyros, the lights, all of the movement and everything else. So I've seen a lot of people complain. Oh man, I ain't even know what the hell Kendrick was saying. I don't know none of those songs. But here's my thing. You ain't got to know all the songs. You ain't got to know what the hell he's saying. It was entertaining. People were moving. People were thumping. People were jumping. People were in the stands, engaged and stuff like that. It's never going to satisfy everybody. People of a certain age ain't gonna like it because they want something that they listen to in their car. If you of a certain age and you listening to old school shit on the radio, listen, y'all, they're not going to sit there and cater to you. You can't even expect that. They're going to play or have on the stage people that are popular, relevant, has a musical catalog of stuff to pull from. So you ain't gonna see Journey out there, y'all. You ain't gonna see Def Leppard. You ain't gonna see Bon Jovi. You ain't gonna see any of those old school groups that got great songs and great catalogs and albums and stuff like that, but ain't popping. You ain't gonna see that. It just ain't gonna happen. I'm sorry that hurt y'all feeling. You ain't gonna see that. You gonna see who's out there right now. And here's another reason behind that. And I bring this up every single year, but it's a good reminder to people. And Lori, you know this, don't you? The performers do not get paid for their
Yes.
performance. They don't get paid. So the only way they get paid is when they put on a good enough show. Then they may make money off of uh, sponsorships. They may make money. The biggest way they make money is normally the day after their album sales goes up on digital sites like Spotify, and people buy their stuff, and that's how they end up recouping what they would have made had they been paid. But they're not paid. So whether it was Kendrick Lamar, Prince, Michael Jackson, Rihanna, nobody got paid directly from the NFL for their performance. So you get some irrelevant group ain't put out nothing in 10, 15 years, maybe going around on the oldies circuit, but not filling out arenas. Y'all gotta remember now. Y'all remember when folks would come to your little small ass 13,000 seat arena in your local area and perform? They ain't doing that no more. If they perform in a 13,000 arena, they probably not that big of a act. Now you get acts not only packing out 20,000 seat arenas, a lot of them are doing only stadium tours where they're going to 60,000, 70,000 seat stadiums, selling those out at ticket prices even way higher than we grew up as kids. And that's kind of the thing now. So people look at, are you popping? Not did you used to pop? Are you popping now? So the biggest thing was wondering if when Kendrick Lamar was announced, oh, who is he going to bring on the stage with him? We keep hearing about SZA. Is he going to bring anybody else? He really didn't. Um, And then the other question was, is he gonna do it? And everybody knows what that means. That should know what that means. Now, if you don't know what I meant when I said, is he gonna do it? Then that wasn't gonna be the show for you anyway. Because if me saying, is he gonna do it, and you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, or you didn't know what I was talking about until he did it, it wasn't a show for you. And it wasn't going to be. And it's okay. It doesn't make it the worst halftime show ever. I saw that so many times. Every year,
Mm-hmm.
they don't like the halftime show. It's always the worst one ever. Y'all overuse that so much, it's almost like it's a fucking it's a defense mechanism. Worst halftime show ever. And when I say, was he gonna do it? Of course, the thing that and it's funny because some people, I guess, forgot that Kendrick Lamar has been around for several years, but it seems like his beef with Drake put him back in some people's spotlight. I mean, he was never out of most of our spotlights that knew of Kendrick. But and then people forget Kendrick. He did the whole soundtrack to Black Panther. You know,
Oh yes.
and
But the
but
smile just gave it all away.
oh Jesus Christ! So Kendrick kept teasing. People didn't understand a lot of the symbolism in his performance.
Mm-hmm.
People asked Kendrick what he was going to do with his performance of the Super Bowl because he only gets literally 11 to 13 minutes to do this. Not a lot of time in the grand scheme of things. But they have to spend time to set up the whole thing and then take it down and then have the players come out after a prolonged halftime. Halftime is normally 15 minutes. They got about 30, 35 minutes because of the halftime performance. But anyway, he said he was going to do some storytelling. So the first thing he did was he had Samuel L. Jackson come out as a black Bojangling Uncle Sam. And he was basically symbolizing, all right, Kendrick, don't come out here and start no foolishness. Don't come out here and be ghetto. Basically, status quo, toe the line, come out with a performance. Don't sit there and get into no crazy. And he had dancers out that were in red, white, and blue that several times created the U.S. flag. And he stood in the middle of that, and the flag was kind of divided that way. Part of the stage looked like a game controller with the X's and the O's and stuff like that, like it was a game. Part of it was like it was a prison yard, and he had some of the singers and dancers harmonizing the things he was saying. He, I mean, he had a lot of symbolic things in it, and there's a lot of posts about a lot of the symbolism, and you should read it and go back and then rewatch it again and go, oh, okay. I will admit a lot of his songs lyrics, he raps very fast, but a lot of Kendrick's lyrics that makes him a very, very great lyricist. Remember, he didn't he get a Pulitzer?
I'm not sure.
Or what maybe it wasn't a Pulitzer. Was it oh, what is it? What is it that people get a lot of times? I'll check it. He did get something like it wasn't a Pulitzer, but it was one of those. Obama got one too. It'll come to me. Somebody, I'm struggling with what it's called right now, but y'all know what I'm talking about. It's not a Pulitzer. That's for journalism. But he got one of those. You can get it in science. You can get it in all these different engineering. You can get it in
You mean a Nobel Peace Prize?
Nobel. Didn't he get that?
I would have to sit there and confirm that. But if you're
Okay.
talking about that, if that's where it's in different categories.
Yes, that is what I'm talking about. I just don't know if that. I believe he did though. Hold on a second. I gotta type it up because if I don't, I'm gonna lose my mind. No, I was right. Pulitzer.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Pulitzer. He won the Pulitzer Prize for music in 2018 for the album Damn, making him the first non-classical or jazz artist to win the award. Now how many rappers can say they won a damn Pulitzer? None.
Not many.
Just him. Just him. So yeah, that's crazy. He was the first. So anyway, that's astonishing. But it's because when you actually, even if you have to like Google his lyrics and stuff like that, when you read them and stuff like that, there's a lot of meat in those lyrics. They're not just words trying to rhyme with each other and stuff like that. There's literal lyrics that go into his stuff. But anyway, he did that. He did Be Humble and all of that. He did a lot of different songs. But then he kept teasing at the end if he was going to do it. And he finally did it. And then people wondered, was he going to do it? Meaning he started Not Like Us, his beef, one of his beef songs with Drake, but the one that even earned him a Grammy just the other week, about a week before the Super Bowl. He got a Grammy for it. And he was nominated for 11 Grammys, which was one short of Michael Jackson. 11. So he had a hell of a year, and he's been on a roll. And so anyway, he was starting the song, and anybody that knows the song, he takes jabs at Drake and accuses him of being a pedophile. So when he got to the part about, say Drake, I hear you like I'm young, he turned right to the camera and was just smiling. I hear you like I'm young. Better not never go to cell block 1. and it was funny because then further on into the verse, if you remember, Drake had a album called Certified Lover Boy. So Kendrick plays on Drake's album cover. He also plays on Drake's OVO brand, clothing, whatever it is. But he played on some Certified Lover Boy because there's a verse that says Certified Lover Boy, certified pedophile. He didn't say pedophile. He just went, whoa. But everybody knew what he was going to say. He didn't have to say it. But he did the verse. Then there was a question of whether he was going to do the other part that he normally does. Now, before I get to the other part, if you took notice, Kendrick had a lowercase a, and I looked this up, Lori, 515 diamonds encrusted on this A, done by none other than Eliante, the jeweler in New York. Got it for, I think it said about 1.5 million, something like that. But it was a lowercase a, and that has symbolism too, because it was a lower a, it was a smaller a, like a minor a. So he ends his first verse asking Drake, aren't you tired? Trying to strike a chord, but it's probably A minor, playing on the vocal chord of A minor, but really referring to Drake being with A minor. The funniest part was the fans knew he was about to say it, and they all joined in, and you could just hear it around the whole damn stadium. So that was the funniest part, because when he said probably trying to strike a chord, and it's probably A minor, and everybody went crazy. They were like, oh shit, he did it. And the reason why people wanted to know if he was really going to do it is because Drake has been filing lawsuits. One lawsuit he filed was he believed that there were bots and other things that had inflated the play of Not Like Us and gave it more attention than it really should have gotten. And then he also had a defamation lawsuit for Kendrick for basically accusing him of being a pedophile. So the lawyers for the NFL really had to look at, was it going to be okay for them to allow him to use those lyrics, knowing that it was in an ongoing lawsuit. So Apparently, Kendrick felt like, hey, the bump that I'm going to get for this is going to outweigh any potential litigation. So he did do it. Another interesting part of the song came into the fact that then it uh, went over to a very jubilant Serena Williams crip walking. Now, crip walking could have some gang ties to it, but Serena is from Compton, so is Kendrick. That's not the only thing they have in common. Neither one of them care for Drake. Serena used to date Drake. Felt I think there was some kind of dissing going on between Serena and Drake at one point, and so now Serena is crip walking to a song that's dissing her ex. You know, turnaround's fair play, they say. So she got to do that. Plus, Serena had done that a little bit when she won one of her tennis matches some years ago and received a lot of backlash. And she even did a milder crip walk there, and that was frowned upon. So Serena got an opportunity to go for round two and really go all into it, which she did. So there was a lot of different things that popped up as a result of that. So it was really, really fun to see on my part. I thought it was a good show. But I go in maybe differently than a lot of people. I'm not going in with a certain level of expectations. Is it better than Michael Jackson's? Is it better than Prince's? I mean, damn. When y'all go into a relationship, I mean, are y'all sitting there? Am I better than this person? Am I better? Oh, you going to something? Am I better than this? It ain't. It ain't about that. Let each performance weigh on itself. That way, it won't be the worst Super Bowl ever. Super Bowl halftime ever. What I will tell you was the worst was them damn commercials. That was shameful. It was funny, Lori. You mentioned it during the Super Bowl. I'm on one of my team's calls for my day job. Like, we all have our team call on Monday as a team. And we're all talking, before we get into business and everything. And one of our directors said the exact same thing. She was like, what was up with the commercials this year? These were the saddest commercials I ever seen. I said, man, they were terrible as an overall thing. Some of them just went from weird to corny, cheesy, and just downright just nuts. One of them even killed a damn alien. I said, damn. Talking about, well, we ain't really like him anyway, and he ain't really trying to get to know us. I'm sitting there going,
Are we killing people now? Like, what's happening?
and it was supposed to be funny. And I was like, what the hell am I watching? So I don't know about y'all, but I found the Super Bowl to be the commercials. Y'all talking about the halftime show. Shit, at least people was dancing and stuff. I have a problem Williams crip walking for a song about her ex but going home to a white man. Why? Well, now Anthony, what does crip walking have to do with her being married to a white man? Please tell me. I mean, look, I think you should be able to, in this world, love whoever you want to love. If they're the same color as you, should she fall in love with him because he's black, or should she be in love with the man because she loves him? And here's the thing. I'm going to push back on the other side of that, Anthony. I don't have a problem with that because I would have more of a problem that if she married a white man, she gave up being black to do it. She still sat there and said, yes, I'm married to a white man, but I'm a black woman. And she kept her blackness in check, even though she's married to a white man. I give her credit for that because we know some people feel like, I'm not staying with someone who's performing for a song about her ex. Why? She's obviously over him. It was just funny enough to get a dig in when Kendrick asked.
Mm-hmm.
Look, was it petty? Yes, but the song, the beef is a petty song. That's what a beef was. They went back and forth, and they both made a whole lot of money off this beef song. You're not staying with someone who's performing a song about her ex. She wasn't performing the song. She wasn't performing the words. She wasn't the one accusing Drake of being a pedophile. The song just happened to be about her ex who had dissed her.
Mm-hmm.
She was simply dancing to it. That ain't no more different than Travis Kelsey's ex celebrating in Eagles Green at the Super Bowl.
Yes. Yes.
What's
And
different
the
about
picture, is a
yeah.
thousand words.
And Travis is a white dude, and this badass, I mean, this nice young lady is a black girl. Plus, he didn't have his old songs in the show.
You mean from the other album, Anthony? From Kendrick Lamar? The Damn?
He did bring Damn in. Isn't that the one where he says, "Be humble, get down"? That wasn't
Yeah.
that wasn't off of his latest album with
No, it was not.
that he's been doing. So that is one of his older songs. Again, though, I'm trying to get y'all to understand when people do shows, a lot of times they're going to do what's been popping lately. Now, Usher went back, and yes, he did pull in a lot of songs, but there's a lot of songs Usher didn't do that were his older songs that I would have loved to hear. You only get 11 to 13 minutes. Let's be real. He only on the show because of that diss track. No. But even if that's true, Anthony, he was nominated for 11 Grammys. And people talk about Lil Wayne being dissed because he's from New Orleans. Just because you're from New Orleans don't mean you're entitled to have to headline the show. I ain't never understood that at all. And then the NFL apologizing to him because they overlooked him and stuff. No, you didn't. Wayne might have put on a good show. He might have, but Usher had other people perform with him.
Well, but what else would have
Okay,
Lil Wayne put up? Mr. Officer? I don't see that one at the halftime show.
Hold on a second, because that's not entirely true. Who did Usher have perform with him? If you mean he brought her on stage and she strummed the guitar, okay, that ain't really performing. Who came out and did songs with Usher? SZA came out and did 2 songs with Kendrick. She did All the Stars, which is an older song from the Black Panther soundtrack, not Black Panther 2, Black Panther 1. That was an older song. Damn was an older song. And SZA was on both of those, and she performed with him.
Didn't she do 30? No, not 30 for 30.
Did they do 30 for 30 out there?
No, I didn't know. They did Luther. He did Luther.
Okay, that's the third one. They did Luther together.
They did Luther.
He had one person perform with him that actually sung, but Usher didn't have anybody else out there singing, I don't believe. I think Usher did all the songs. He may have brought up cameos and stuff like that, but I don't think and did Rihanna have a bunch of people come out with her? So I mean, what difference does it make how many people came out for the performance? He was the headliner. The reason for coming was to see him. Nobody said, hey, Prince had 3 people performing with him. It was all about Prince. When Michael Jackson performed, it was all about Michael. If memory serves me right. So I don't know what the whole thing about. I mean, I think we kind of moving the goalpost a little bit. I mean, if you don't like Kendrick, just say I don't like Kendrick. But I wouldn't give like 5 different reasons why I don't like why I ain't like the show. It could just be I just don't like Kendrick or his music doesn't, and that's okay. Everything ain't gonna be for everybody. But I will say this: you might not have liked it, but his halftime show was viewed by more people ever that have viewed a halftime show. I think he had over 113 million or something like that. Come on, Michael Jackson just need to stand there and he'll get all the hype. No. Ain't nobody paying to see Michael Jackson stand in one spot and do his songs. They're there to see the gyrations. They're there to see the moonwalk. They're there to see all that other stuff. They're there to see it's a performance, y'all. They're there to see the action. They want to see the dancers. They want to see the sequence. If it wasn't about all of that, y'all, people wouldn't sit there and have all of that at the halftime show. It would literally just be one person with a damn spotlight on them, shining down on the person singing. That is not a halftime show, not a concert. It's a show. It's a performance. They're there to put on a show, to entertain you. It's not there to sit there, be one person and all the spotlight is on them. That's not a halftime show, y'all. So I think what disappoints people is the expectations, maybe to begin with. I think that's what happens a lot of times with y'all. Y'all looking at this, either you're trying to judge them from performances in the past, or you're going, you know what? I'm not really a big Kendrick fan. I'm not really a big Rihanna fan. I'm not really a big this fan. And that's fine. But there's so many people that it's going to touch those folks. There were and Anthony, you talk about Serena crip walking and she married to a white man. Okay. There were people that were mad that Kendrick had all black people. There were white people mad talking about off topic. We need to work on these halftime commercials. That was bad. We did. Yeah. We were just saying that before you popped in. They weren't bad. It was insanely ludicrous and terrible. But Lori, I don't know if you saw, there was this one guy on Twitter that was in a tizzy that he ain't like the show because there wasn't no white people. And one person clapped back at him and said, "What you mad about? Y'all got rid of DEI, didn't you?" Said, we
were just better performers. Black people just better performers.
We ain't feel compelled to put any white people out there because black people were the better dancers.
Right.
So we didn't do any DEI because of that. Yeah, gotta be careful about this whole DEI thing. But that was a hell of a clapback, the context that they put it in, because it was just to push back on the fact that, hey, wait a minute, why is it that all pilots got to be white, but when it comes to Super Bowl halftime shows, it got to be it need to be mixed.
I know that. Oh, I know that
Kendrick
he has
Lamar have all black. He was sending a message to the world. He did. He said the revolution will be televised.
Yes, it will.
He said you picked the right time, but the wrong guy. Who was he talking about? Trump.
Well, I know you're talking about Kendrick, and I know you just brought up the topic about pilots and white pilots, but I just think it's very strange that we've just, again, only a month in, and
Not
we've
even
had
23 days, if that.
Right, almost, but we've had so many plane crashes, something like. I just don't understand. Whereas we had 8 years ago, nothing. I mean, again, accidents do happen, but it just seems very telling.
Well, the problem is this, and so, I mean, I will not blame all of that on Trump. But what I will say, when you come in your first week, when you fire the FAA, you're trying to make government smaller, not realizing. And here's the crazy thing. Trump is trying to make government smaller, not because he believes or doesn't believe in government. He doesn't give a damn about government. Trump is trying to make the government smaller so there's less bureaucracy to fight back against his authoritarian nature. And we're going to get into that too. The real reason that he's trying to shrink the government. Now, conservative Republicans back in the day, because I don't see any of them now. I think all Republicans are basically back, and I'll go through that in a second too. We used to be able to say the grown-ups in the room and stuff like that, and still remnants of the old Republican Party, the old conservatives and stuff like that. that wanted smaller government and all those kind of things. They don't exist. But back in the day when they did exist, they wanted smaller government because they thought government was too bloated, inflated, and things like that. And they always talk about shrinking government. One of them went as far as to say, put the government in a bathtub and drown it to death, which is ridiculous, but that's what they use. But the pot that, so when you're trying to lay off 2 million people in the federal government arbitrarily, you're trying to fire people without cause. Air traffic controllers are government employees. There's a shortage of air traffic controllers. It is a highly skilled job, and they weren't being given out, quote unquote, to underqualified people. I think the bigger thing, Lori, is this misconception that DEI, let's just say it. If y'all got your kids around, I'm going to say a bad word to you right now. The word DEI to white people means nigga. It just does. They can't say nigga, so they say DEI. Period. White people, I said it for you. The word DEI, when you hear them say DEI, 9 times out of 10, because they could also mean women, other groups, LGBTQ and things like that, but it's really a slur for them. Or they use the acronym instead of diversity, equity, inclusion and turn it into didn't earn it. Because they think that anytime there's DEI initiatives, it means slighting the white person in favor of a black person, even though the white person inherently, because of their whiteness, is more qualified. Apparently, whiteness alone makes you more qualified. Whiteness alone gives you credentials that being a black person and having numerous accreditations to your name still doesn't make you as qualified as the white person next to you that may have barely finished high school. Whiteness makes you qualified. Blackness makes you a potential DEI hire. Oh, you got into Yale because you're black. You know, I might have gotten into Yale because I was black, but being black didn't help me pass none of them damn tests. Being black did not help me with my GPA. All that door opening my blackness for did was give me the opportunity to show your racist asses that I belong just as much as you did. That's all it did. It opened a door that you have spent hundreds of years nailing shut and barricading. All DEI does is remove the barricades, the hurdles, and the obstacles. DEI didn't make me excel at that job. When you see a black pilot in a cockpit, he went through the same damn training as the white dude. He had to take the same test as the white dude. So by the time he's in the cockpit, he is just as qualified as the white dude. It wasn't as if they said, damn, we got to let a bunch of Negroes in here. So instead of putting them through the same rigors of training, we just going to go ahead and put them behind the cockpit. Who in their right mind would believe some dumb shit like that? But a lot of y'all will regurgitate this whole DEI foolishness as if you see a black person doing what we perceive a white person to do, well, I don't know. They might have snuck in somehow. How the hell did they sneak in and become a pilot? You act like they walk out in 3 days and flying planes. They go through simulators. They go through books. They go through a lot of stuff to get those qualifications.
Maybe they were thinking that they had passed through Trump University.
Well, then none of them would have been qualified. It'd be a whole lot more planes crashing if they went to Trump University. But this whole notion that just because you're black, you're not as good as is what they changed the narrative to DEI to be. I remember when I started out in the workforce, there was diversity training all over the place because it at one point used to be a good thing to be able to accept people's differences.
Mhm.
And the crazy thing is that these folks that let these politicians distract you with things like DEI is all that is. It's a distraction while they're in your back pocket raping and taking all your effing money. They're gonna sit there and distract you with DEI, but they ain't gonna tell you why your eggs is high. They're gonna distract you with DEI, but they ain't gonna tell you why it costs more now to buy a house. They're gonna distract you with DEI, but they're not gonna tell you why your drinking water is tainted. They ain't gonna distract you with DEI, uh, but they ain't gonna sit there and address the fact that neighborhoods are getting gentrified and people are getting priced out of neighborhoods that they've lived in all their life. See, they're gonna keep distracting you with DEI because they know that if they can make you fight with other people that have nothing to do with why your life is shitty, then they can go on and keep doing the other things that are really impacting your life on a day-to-day basis. So they throw up, oh, it's the gay people, it's the bisexual people, it's the trans people, it's the Mexicans, it's this, it's that, and make you sit there and fight amongst each other. Oh, did you know that they giving all the immigrants all the federal money and stuff? How much? Mm, I hear they're giving them $100 a week. They're giving them $400 a month. How much is that a year? Well, they shouldn't give them nothing. They need to get out there and work. Okay. But in the grand scheme of things, you talking about the richest country in the world giving people $400 a month, and you mad? Why? Because you wanted the $400? I mean, we fighting against each other over crumbs, and they stealing more than that. They sit there and know that if they throw crumbs in the bottom of the barrel, we so ignorant and stupid, we'll fight amongst ourselves for the crumbs while they sitting high on the hog, laughing. Y'all got to wake up. I know they told y'all woke is bad, but you need to wake the hell up. It's a diversion. So you don't sit there and see that you're really getting robbed. The people you think are robbing you are not the people that are robbing you. I hate to be the one to break the news to you, but that's what they will do. They will sit there and distract you. Lori, I got one that really killed me. And I'm trying to be sensitive to people. But I've realized over the last couple of weeks, I got no sympathy for some of these people that voted for Trump that are on the FO side of the FA. Um, there was a story about Venezuelans being upset in Florida, big Venezuelan area in Florida, upset because they said they feel betrayed because Trump kept talking about when he talked about mass deportations, they were like, "No, y'all good. Yeah, yeah. No, we're only going after the criminals." And this is what I mean by people fighting with each other. Now, I'm not saying that the whole Hispanic Latino community is a monolith and they're not free to have different ideologies and vote different ways. I wouldn't say any race is a monolith. But when you were Venezuelan, it was okay for him to talk shit about Mexicans being drug dealers and rapists and all of these other things. They bring in drugs and disease and all that kind of stuff. Y'all ain't had no problem saying that. When those are the same people in y'all own damn lineage. But as long as they were talking about them dirty Mexicans, them Venezuelans didn't give two F's. Old Cubans, Puerto Ricans, I'm coming after you too. Same thing. As long as they talking about them Mexicans, oh, they just talking about them damn wetbacks. Da, 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 da. I don't care. They ain't talking about us. We came here legally. He ain't gonna do nothing to us because we legal. We pay taxes. Dumbass. Even the illegal people pay taxes. They just weren't getting the benefits and representation from it. So that wasn't it. Trump doesn't like Latinos, black people, but y'all ain't accepting that. Y'all letting him convince y'all that, oh, he just talking about the criminals. And the question had kept coming up before. Hey, y'all, he's selling y'all the okie doke. He started doing mass deportations. There's gonna be some of y'all legal ones that gonna get pulled into that too. Oh no, y'all just being hyperbolic. You Democrats just try to make people afraid. Good old Trump said that he's only going to get rid of the bad ones. Really? You think there's 11 million bad ones? Really? So when he said bad ones, what you thought? What, murderers, rapists, those kinds, or people with misdemeanors, maybe shoplifting? What constitutes bad? When he said bad, he didn't really get too specific with that, did he?
No.
Because he thinks all of you are bad. So, and then his idea of temporary protection status, TPS, is that that's not legal. He doesn't view that as legal. And he told you that when he talked about the Haitians in Ohio. They're under TPS and saying the whole time that they were illegal. And they are legally there. And he kept saying that, well, that don't make them legal. That's just something that Biden used to create that. But they're not really legal. No, it's a legal status, TPS. He didn't want it to be legal. So a lot of Venezuelans, Lori, guess what status they're under?
TPS.
And guess what Kristi Noem, I think it is, over Homeland Security, what she has rescinded. TPS. And now these Venezuelans that have been here for years are now going to be sent to Venezuela, where a lot of them escaped persecution and things like that. And some of them you may never see again. Because when they get to Venezuela, it's going to be on and popping. There's going to be some folks ready to punish them. So Trump is sending them either back to Venezuela, or guess what? Where else he's been sending them or trying to send them? Gitmo. So now we're deporting people and sending them to countries of origin, Gitmo, really inhumane things to do. But those that sat there and thought that Trump was going to stop at illegal criminals, if you believe that, I don't have any sympathy for you. I mean, I don't like to see people suffer, but sometimes I think when you choose to be uneducated, when the facts were there in front of you, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel bad for you because you chose not to be educated. Lori, I'm moving over to these damn Muslims.
Oh yes, I have a problem with all of the videos that I see with them.
So now our Muslim American friends, especially the ones in Minnesota, Dearborn, I'm looking at you. Y'all sat there and decided one or two things. Both were going to result in the same. So neither made any damn sense. They decided that we're going to do a protest vote because we don't like the way that the Biden administration is handling the situation in Gaza. And my heart goes out to all of the Palestinians that have been displaced, killed, disregarded in Gaza. That is totally terrible. I do feel like the Biden administration could have and should have done more. What I also accept and realize too is that every presidential administration has given way too much love to Israel. And it did not start with Joe Biden being in office. You count Clinton, Obama, Bush 1, Bush 2, Trump, Reagan. You can count all of them for being weak and having deference to Israel. All of them. This was not a new phenomenon under Joe Biden, but y'all gave him all the shit for it. I ain't saying his hands are clean by any stretch of the imagination, but sometimes you have to sit there and be educated enough to take the lesser of two evils on certain things. If you thought that Trump's handling of Israel and Gaza was going to be any better of a response, and you heard Kamala Harris break away from Joe Biden in the campaign and stomp for a two-state solution, meaning that the Palestinians in Gaza should be recognized as a state, the state of Israel recognized as a state, not Israel basically holding dominion and basically an open air prison over Palestinians. You heard her say it. You have never heard Trump advocate for a damn two-state solution. He has always been in Benjamin Netanyahu's pocket. Okay? They've always played footsie with each other. Netanyahu finally agreed to a ceasefire deal only after Trump got elected because he didn't want to give Joe Biden any victory on helping broker a ceasefire deal. He was willing to extend it until Trump got elected. That's a fact. That's a fact. But then when Netanyahu comes last week to the White House, Trump talks about Gaza like it's the next big real estate deal. Oh, we're going to level everything down and rebuild it up. And in his words, turned it into the Riviera. You know, real estate talking. And he got plans of condos, and it's going to draw people in, and it's going to get rid of all the terrorism, which that's not true. They'll be blowing up every one of them fucking buildings. Like I wouldn't go there. It'd be a target. It'd be like the New York City of the damn Middle East. But yeah, he's talking about it's going to be the Riviera and all that kind of stuff. But doing a lot of puffing. But it was like, but sir, you do all that, then where the Palestinians going to go? Oh, they don't want to go back there anyway. It's hell. That's how he calls everything. It's hell. They wouldn't want to go there. We're going to send them somewhere else much better, so they'll never want to go back there again. Wait a minute.
It's their homeland.
You're going to move an entire ethnicity out, potentially against their will? Ethnic cleanse much? So when he said all that, Lori, now all the folks in Minnesota go, whoa, what the hell? You talking about moving us out? Negroes. That was always the thing. This just actually said the quiet part out loud. But had you been listening before, you would have already heard that. I wasn't surprised that he said it. I was surprised of how many people actually finally heard it. Of course. And then he went a step further, Lori. So, Mr. President, you know, who's going to own it? Well, we'll take it over. You mean like an invasion? We're going to invade Gaza, kick out Hamas, kick out the Palestinians, send them into a different country, and we're going to level the rest of it and then rebuild it into this Riviera. Yes. And his little parrot beside him, Netanyahu, is like, see, now that's visionary. What? I mean, and now the Arab Americans are going, oh my God, he's crazy. And what they did was they came up with two solutions. We know Trump is crazy, so we gonna not vote for him as a protest to Biden. And then some of them voted for Trump. Look, if you didn't vote for Trump and you didn't vote for Biden and you sat out the election, you know what you did in effect? You voted for Trump. It's math, y'all. If you don't vote, then that's one less vote that Biden would have, and that means Trump don't have to beat him by as much. So that's what happened with a lot of them. People having these damn protest votes. Look, you want to protest, go protest, but don't let your vote be oh, I'm gonna write in somebody else. Okay, well, you throwing it to the person that you don't want to be there. Oh, hey, you didn't vote, or you voted for Trump. I guess you showed Biden, didn't you? Tell me how that work out when you go visit the Riviera every year.
Or building on that, for
shit.
these videos, I've seen it with white women crying, but then I also see the I think Arab Americans talking about Black people. We need to stand together. No, we don't. No.
We tried that.
No, you voted against yourself. Deal with it.
All of it.
Because I said you will now know what we've experienced all our lives.
You know, Trump has done 60 executive orders in 3 weeks. Now, let's understand the fact that if he had that many, he had most of these already ready to go on paper. None of these 60 executive orders, absolutely zero of these executive orders, none of them out of 60, 60, has addressed rising costs in this country. Trump will sit there and say, I ran on groceries. Who would have thought such a simple word? I mean, I said the word grocery, and I mean, he's almost amazed that he said a word groceries and it caused him to be elected. I found the right word to trick them with, is what he's saying. I found a word that resonated with people that got me elected, but knowing damn well when I get in office, I ain't gonna do one damn thing about groceries. Because here's the thing, y'all. The reason that Trump will never address the rising cost of groceries is because there are grocer conglomerates out there that pay into political campaigns. These are the millionaires and billionaires that he's trying to give tax cuts to. So why is he going to come and try to regulate and stop grocers from gouging us to bring the prices down when those are the same people that are greasing his skids because he's allowing them to do stuff unregulated?
Yes, absolutely. And these videos I keep seeing with them crying on the TV, or I have white women with children. There was one that was very telling. She basically said how she has to ration the cheese and the Ritz crackers because her daughter likes to have cheese and crackers. So she can't eat this one because she rations it. And she said, I specifically voted because I was going to get more cheese.
You know, I'm just going to say it. These same people, or a lot of them, did not have a problem with it when it didn't affect them. That's the problem I have with people in general. It ain't a problem unless it affects me. You know, food insecurity is not an issue until I'm food insecure. But when there's all these people in this country that are food insecure, you don't give a damn about them and about the policies that make them food insecure. You could give two damns that they leave one job and go to another job and still have a part-time job 3 days a week. You could give two damns about them when they have to drop their kids off early at school so that they can have something to eat with school breakfast, school lunch, and after school. You could give two damns about them when childcare costs are high. Now you got to sit there and find childcare, and you go, oh, damn, this stuff is kind of high. You didn't give two damns until it affected you. Why does stuff have to affect you for you to give a shit?
Also, and continuing on that, Brian, as well, when we think about food insecurity, I also was thinking about these people who have a problem with SNAP and EBT, but where most of the folks that are on EBT and SNAP are white. And now when Trump had did either one of his executive orders or stopped federal funding, and this way, yes. And then they all sitting here crying on videos talking about I can't eat, and it's costing me $3,000. Wow.
No,
You
right.
voted for that.
Right with it. He was the one that signed your stimmy, wasn't he? Didn't he sign your stimmy? You were good with that, right? Oh, look.
Well, supposedly there's the other one that we're supposed. Some people, some taxpayers are supposed to be getting a stimulus check. Yeah,
I'll wait for that. But you got people that really, I mean, I don't even want to say fell for the okie doke.
No,
because
no,
you saw what you wanted to see. Period. I'm not going to sit there, and that's why it's hard for me to feel bad for anybody, because most of the people now they're talking about, I regret my vote. Trump's newest approval rating just came out yesterday, and it's 52% disapprove, and that's up 2% from the last time they ran it. So what that most likely means is that there's a certain slither of folks that voted for him that are now starting to regret that vote. What is it that he didn't show you in the first 4 years that made you think he needed another 4? I mean, he's the bad boyfriend that's been whooping your ass for the last 4 years. Then you ain't seen him in a little while. Maybe he done cleaned himself up. He look a little different. He talking to you sweet again. And somehow in the back of your mind, you put out them 4 years where he was whooping your ass. Now people will say, well, Trump did more for the economy because when Trump was around, gas prices were lower.
Nobody was going anywhere. We had a pandemic.
I mean, I mean, what you just said is reality, but people ain't dealing in reality. Like, okay, all of the stuff you're saying is true, but is that because it was Trump, or is it because there were conditions at the time that have changed? And what changed those conditions?
And in addition to that, as you go back to the bad boyfriend example, it's just mind-boggling because all of these things that these voters had voted for Trump center around, you felt that this was a brown people or a non-white issue. And now you are getting to the realization that it's not just about brown people. It's about everybody. Anyone that's lower than who's not making millions of dollars in anything. You are not in the club. You never were.
Never were.
And now you thought because you're going to be solidarity for white people, and he's going to sit here and be your white champion, and the white champion is leaving your poor people out in the cold, and now you crying, talking about, oh, we need to band together. We need to get together.
I mean, when this man said, and look, inflation, the consumer consumer price index came out yesterday, and inflation is up again.
Yep.
I do not blame Donald Trump for the rise in inflation. That was already established before he came to office. Now, some of his decisions about tariffs and reducing the workforce, those are inflationary, and those will only continue to cause inflation to go up.
Yep.
Um, but I don't give. I mean, he's been in office for 3 weeks. He can't move inflation like that fast. But y'all seem to think that Joe Biden can move gas prices fast. Y'all seem to think Joe Biden was the reason that egg prices went up so fast, even when it was explained to you that the avian flu been killing birds left and right.
Right.
But you
And
wouldn't
it's
give
been
Joe Biden,
transferred.
you wouldn't give Joe Biden any consideration for the avian flu. My eggs cost more because of Biden and his policies. Oh, it was Biden's policies to give birds the fucking flu? Really? But now that Trump is in office, well, what can he do? The birds are dying. Of course, the egg prices are going to go up. Oh, now you heard that the birds are dying. The birds been dying.
Oh,
But when you wanted it to affect Biden, that wasn't good enough. Now that Orange Jesus is in there, now all of a sudden, oh, did y'all hear about the avian flu? Motherfucker, the avian flu been going on for months. It's been killing the birds. What do you
and
think happens when the supply of chickens goes of egg-laying birds goes down? It drives up the price of the ones that do come out. That's all. It's supply and demand. A lot of these people don't know what supply and demand is, Lori. They don't understand simple economics.
even additional to simple economics, they also don't they also have been turning a blind eye to science. And again, these are all of these things, these we're things that we haven't with vaccines and that we've had never had. Now we have measles, and there's a big thing about measles coming back. But now we have RFK.
You got that? I remember, Lori, just last year, Pete Buttigieg, our former Secretary of Transportation, constantly being yanked to Capitol Hill to testify about electric vehicles. I remember congressmen saying that there was a mandate from the uh, Department of Transportation to buy EV vehicles, and Pete Buttigieg kept telling them there is no mandate. The only thing that we have we are offering tax credits to those that go out and buy electric vehicles. And when Pete Buttigieg would talk about sales of electric vehicles keep rising every year, one of the first things that I would hear the Republican congressmen say, well, that's because uh, you're making the government vehicles electric. Without that, it wouldn't go up as much. Oh, so you got a problem with the government purchasing electric vehicles. If that's the case, then why in the hell did Elon Musk just get awarded a $400 million um, purchase of armored Tesla Cybertrucks from the State Department?
I saw one today, and it was like every time I see them cars, they look
Listen,
crazy.
listen to what I'm saying. These are the same people that stay in Pete Buttigieg's ass about the government switching over to electric vehicles, and the State Department is going to give Elon Musk $400 million for Cybertrucks, and y'all worried about immigrants getting $100 a week.
And talking about stop the steal, whatever.
Or are we trying to find waste, fraud, and abuse?
From
You
where?
hold on. You try to find waste, fraud, and abuse from USAID
Right.
that contributes less than 1% of our overall budget. But you ain't going over to the Department of Defense that has the largest. That if you found the waste, fraud, and abuse there, it would move the needle more than anything. Now, of course, you're not going to do that because a lot of your donors are defense contractors. A lot of your lobbyists are defense contractors. A lot of your senators get money from defense contractors. So we know you're not going to mess with the military in the defense budget. You're going after USAID because they actually sit there and try to make a difference around the world, whether it's sending people around for uh, medications and delivering food and all kinds of services. But then y'all make up some damn story that they spent $50 million on sending rubbers to Gaza.
Or having sex chains in what is it, El Salvador or Nicaragua? Somebody.
Again, they do that for a distraction. Oh, they spending my money on sex changes, and I think that there's only two genders, a man and a woman. See, they know how to make y'all mad. There's only two sexes, male and female, and they're spending money on sex changes. Okay. But it's okay for them to spend $400 million of your tax dollar money on them ugly ass Cybertrucks. And the
Ugliest thing ever.
whole time tell you that buying electric is bad and EVs ain't this and they ain't that and everything else, but they're gonna spend $400 million on some damn Cybertrucks. Make that make sense. Make it make sense. It don't make sense. But that's what they do, y'all. They keep telling y'all. And just as a point of order, yes, they did spend a bunch of money sending contraceptives to Gaza. But oh, by the way, it wasn't Gaza Strip. It was Gaza, Mozambique. And it was there to help curb the AIDS crisis. So they were it was a health prevention thing because they didn't want more people spreading AIDS.
Yep.
Wasn't to sit there and let the people, the Hamas soldiers, get freaky and buck wild over there. It was Gaza, Mozambique. But by the time, and they confronted Elon Musk about that when he was bitch slapping Trump in the Oval Office the other day with his little retarded boy with him.
The fact that he's South African is just
sitting there whispering to Donald Trump, "You're not the president. You need to go." I don't know if you saw that clip with the little boy sitting there messing with Trump, but he whispered to him, "You're not the president. You need to go." And he told him, "Shush and don't say nothing." He kept messing with Trump while Elon was talking, but you could, like, the one of the mics picked him up. It was funny as hell, and Trump just sat there, looked like he was in his, like he couldn't even move out that chair. Elon standing up over your ass because the real president was finally in the Oval Office. That's all. The puppet was sitting down. The puppet master was standing up over him, pulling his fucking strings.
Yeah.
And sitting there telling people about they being transparent. And then they started asking him about conflicts of interest, who's policing him. And basically, he's policing himself. If he thinks it's a conflict, then he'll remove himself. Like, bro, you had over $13 billion in government contracts last year. I'm sorry, 13 billion with a B, billion in government contracts, defense, SpaceX, all that stuff. He had his hands in $13 billion in government contracts. And we're going to let him let us know when he runs across a conflict of interest. But remember, them egg prices will be down as soon as this show is over. Egg prices are going to go down. I guarantee it.
Heck no.
Here's
they
the other
will
thing.
not.
Here's the other thing too, Lori. I told you I don't blame him for inflation going up, but I do blame him for sitting there telling everybody that prices were going to go down on day one. Did nobody make you say that? You said that. Did nobody make you say that you were going to have the Ukraine-Russia war resolved within 24 hours of not you taking office, of you being elected? Well, neither one of those have happened. And from what we're hearing from reports, it sounds like you and Putin got together and decided how y'all going to carve up Ukraine. And that's your resolution, and that's your piece. Talking about Ukraine should have never gotten the war. Ukraine didn't have no choice. Yeah, like they started it. He talking about it was a war they should have never got into. What are they going to do? Just let them come on in there and die? Like, bro,
Mm-mm.
he is so stupid. He keeps getting played, and then he wants to sit there and jack up all these tariffs and still not understand. And in one voice, he'll say, "No, tariffs are good; they're not inflationary." Then he's in a press conference today talking about, "Well, nobody really knows what's going to happen."
Yeah, we do.
Well, you the one that sound confident that you knew what was going to happen, but then he'll turn right back. He is a walking contradiction. He will say one thing and two sentences later contradict everything he just said. He literally said today, because they said, well, are you saying then that Americans are going to face some short term pain and things like that? Well, I wouldn't say that. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. But you said that tariffs weren't going to hurt anybody. It was going to create jobs. It was going to take money from the coffers of the country sending us the goods, even though that's not true, because you have no access to take money from the treasury of China. You have no access to take money from the treasury of Mexico, dumbass. How do you take money? How do you, once we pay China, once we pay Canada for the goods, how do you then go back and get more money from them? The bill has already been paid. The bill didn't come to you first. You marked it up, then you sent it to Best Buy. Best Buy paid China directly, and when it comes to the port for it to get off the boat, there's not a Chinese man sitting there with a checkbook going, "How much I got to pay y'all to get this off this boat?" It's the guys from Best Buy to say, "How much I got to pay to get this off the boat? I've already paid for the product. How much do I have to pay the U.S. government to get it off the boat? Oh, an extra this, 20%? Okay, well, I'm going to have to mark it up even more when it's in the store on the showroom floor." It's simple economics, but I don't know why they can't figure that shit out.
I can't wait for school school year to begin. People start talking about clothes and this, and even when the U.S. Postal Service had that temporary stop on packages from China, and this, like, all I'm waiting. I can't wait to see the memes and the videos, because if they start keep crying, talking about we all need to stand together.
And now they're talking about they wanted to shut down TikTok because they didn't want China capturing all of our information and stuff like that. But they have no problem with Elon Musk breaking into the payment systems of the government, pulling up all your social security information, all your payment information, and think that he's in there looking for waste, fraud, and abuse. Let me tell you
Oh
what
no.
Elon Musk is trying to do, Lori. Elon wants to, and you will see this, turn Twitter into a payment system
Yeah.
where you can use it as a payment system.
Hmm.
He's gathering your information for that. Now, how that's going to really all turn out, we'll see. But I guarantee you that whatever he's doing is going to benefit him. But
Oh
your
yes.
information is being put in his hands and a bunch of other people out there that have no experience in these things.
Oh
And
yes.
they could be in there changing code. They could be in there pausing payments for groups that they don't like, groups or people that have spoken unfavorably about Elon. And oops, all of a sudden, Social Security checks don't show up. Oops, all of a sudden, other payments don't show up that have government grants and things like that. Government does a lot of payouts, but he has the keys to the actual payment system. And Republicans have no problem with that. The other thing I understand, Lori, is Republicans have always talked about when Barack Obama was doing executive orders, and they would say, he's not a king, he's just the president. Congress has the power of the purse. We appropriate funds, not the executive branch.
Hmm.
Now, all of a sudden, the executive branch, through the stroke of a pen of an executive order, seems like now they can bypass Congress, and Congress has nothing to say about it.
Nope.
Oh, well, if he wants to go ahead and change policy with and the reason that the Constitution doesn't let you do that is a couple of reasons. Congress is supposed to be a co-equal branch of government, meaning that the executive has no more power than the judicial and legislative branch. He is a third of a branch. What they're trying to do is say he is supreme. If he was supreme over all the branches, then you basically rip up the Constitution and you put us back into having a king. The purpose of the Constitution was to stop us from having a king. But when Congress decides that we're going to obfuscate our duties and defer to the president, we are now in a constitutional crisis. We're also in a constitutional crisis because when the president is saying all of these courts are trying to prevent me from pushing my agenda. Well, Donald, the reason they're pushing you from your agenda because some of the things that you come up with, they believe could potentially be unconstitutional. And it is their part as the third co-equal branch of government to make sure that the legislative and executive branches do not do things that are unconstitutional because there are rights in the Constitution that cannot be violated, even if that's your agenda, such as birthright citizenship. You can't arbitrarily just go against what's in the Constitution and say, because I'm the executive, I have unfettered access into pushing my agenda. No, you have to wait for the court. If they put a temporary hold on something and things like that, you are to abide by that. He is deciding that he doesn't want to abide by some of these things. And now people in Congress that will tell you that they were constitutional scholars, they were textualists of the Constitution, now all of a sudden have no problem with Trump defying the judicial branch because now they'll say, well, they're just a bunch of liberal judges and stuff like that, even though many of these judges he appointed. So that's where we're in the constitutional crisis, because if he decides to continue to push his agenda without following the rule of law, then and you know, I would ask the Supreme Court to really, really think about this. If y'all are going to give him the ability to do that, how long do you think it's going to be before he decides, I don't even know why we need a Supreme Court? Go home. What's going to happen when Doge shows up at the U.S. Supreme Court and says, you know, I don't think we need 9 judges. Let's just keep the 6 that are Republican. And they send Ketanji Brown Jackson, Sotomayor, and Kagan home. What about that, Lori? What's going to keep him from doing that?
Nothing.
What's going to keep him from walking into Congress and saying, you know,
we don't need all you senators. I just need the Republican ones.
I think instead of JD being the president of the Senate, I'm just going to sit my ass down and be president of the Senate. You know, instead of having MAGA Mike Johnson be the Speaker of the House, I think I can be the Speaker of the House. Oh, Brian, that's just crazy. That's crazy. He would never do that. I'm sorry. Have you met the new chair of the Kennedy Center? You know it's him now, right?
Yeah.
He took over the Kennedy Center. So if you think that he won't try to take over things, remember the other thing that he's doing to y'all is, and Steve Bannon spoke about this a long time ago, where he called it flooding the zone with shit. He's going to continue to keep throwing things, hoping that we can't keep up, hoping that you will grow weary of the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. When Biden was in office, how many days would go by before you even thought about Joe Biden or Kamala Harris? Hell, Kamala Harris spent 3 years as vice president and nobody heard a damn thing from her. And that was okay. But will one day go by in these 4 years that you will not hear about what Orange Jesus is doing? No. And guess what? When you tune into this show, you're going to hear about it too. But we're going to give you the unfiltered truth about it. And yes, it's going to rile me up. Yes, I'm going to throw out some bombs because this is a bunch of bullshit. And y'all need to know about it. Y'all need to wake up. So if you can be like those folks in Minnesota that said, I'm going to protest and sit on the sidelines, I'm going to vote for the other guy. But then when it's time for you to go through the FAFO phase, please do not look our way for any sympathy because we're giving you the information now. It is your responsibility to get educated and stop following people trying to point you against people that are not affecting your life the way that they want you to believe. So we're going to let it go for this week, Lori. We will see y'all again next week. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. And yeah.
And you forgot the most important day, not just the Super Bowl.
You got me. Oh, it was our anniversary. Happy 2 years, Lord.
It's 8.
Y'all pray. I'm out. Y'all have a good
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for